house. I don't know where they got him, but at 6:30, they knocked at the gate. They came together, but he did not leave the vehicle. The police said there is something they wanted me to do for them in my office, and they wanted me to accompany them, so I accompanied them but when he got to Roiro, they diverted it to the police station, and they told me to take off my personal effects. That's when I knew I was being arrested.
Dismas Maina Mudhungu had been employed 3 years earlier. Dismas, just like his boss, had been arrested by the dreaded Flying Squad crack unit at the time, based in Nairobi. The killing of the civic leader had caught the attention of the ruling party KANU. The widow told case file she got news of the husband's arrest the very day he was arrested.
Nikaona niende Nairobi nione my sister. Anieleze vile tutaweza saidiana kumtafuta. Sasa wakati huo magari ilikuwa kwa strike, matatu. Kwani kusafiri kulikuwa na shida. Sasa hata sio hiyo siku tukasema tutasaidiana, lakini hatujui tutaanza wapi.
Susan, Maina's youngest daughter in class 4 at the time, says she noticed the mother was away most of the time, which was unusual.
Nikasikia mama hakutuambia, lakini nilikuwa nasikia akisema my dad ameshikwa. So after anaamka asubuhi anaenda, akikuja jioni tunamuuliza kama amempata, anatuambia hajamuona.
For 3 days, the family made frantic efforts to locate the driver. On the 3rd day of July 1999, 1 month after the murder of Charles Maina Wanjuguna, the widow says she was informed that the husband had killed himself.
Tukiwa tu hapo Ruiru na goja brother yangu tuende na kijana mwingine, ndio tukaona kwa gazeti. Sasa kusoma paragraph ya pili kuwa vile wanasema nimejiua, na hiyo maneno ilikuwa gumu. Hivyo ndivyo nilijua ati hayuko hai.
For the class 4 pupil at the time, the thought of a man she had called father not coming home was too much to bear. But the father was not coming home. In a hurried media briefing, the National Police Service informed the public that Dismas Maina Mudhungu had committed suicide while being locked up in a cell. The police department told the suspicious public that the man used one of his socks and a shoelace to hang himself. Dismas Maina's body was moved to the city mortuary as the rest of the civic leaders implicated in the murder were arraigned in court to formally face charges of murdering Charles Maina Wanjuguna. In a trial that lasted close to 5 years, the name of the slain driver did not feature in the lengthy trial. The trial, the defense counsel for the accused termed a fishing expedition. The prosecution had relied heavily on the evidence of Wanjuguna's daughter Njeri, who says she witnessed 2 of the killers take the life of her father. Njeri told the court one of the killers was tall, broad-faced, and had big ears. The prosecution had charged that the 12 had planned to murder the civic leader, and the evil plan was mooted in a hotel in Kasarani before it was executed.
When he was murdered, I felt that I have lost a friend. And I conducted a prayer, which we could get it even from the minutes. When we went for the full council meeting, I was the one who conducted the prayers. And I asked God for those who did the killing or were the ones who murdered him to be brought to book, because I felt that I've roasted somebody. We did all we could as a council to raise money, and we visited the home. And we gave a check of 100,000. Me being the chairman of finance at the time, I'm the one who presented the check to the family for the arrangement of the burial.
Kea, among those charged with the murder of the civic leader, says Dismas was not the only suspect who died in the hands of the police. Only 2 suspects out of the 12 arrested for the murder of Wanjuguna were fingered by Njeri, Wanjuguna's daughter. The prosecution had failed to establish a motive, let alone a case, against the accused. The trial collapsed, but with it came the mysterious killing of 2 people.
Then siku moja ndio akakuta jioni na watu wengine.
Nitafuta usaidizi nikakosa.
Ndio akatuambia my dad wamempata kwa motel.
He was a friend of my family.
Ya, tulishangaa lakini
Wakati hiyo magari ilikuwa kwa strike.
kwa ananipenda sana.
Watu ushago, my brother akuja Jumamosi tuende tukamtafute.
Hatukuweza kusoma vizuri.
One of our colleagues had died.
Naona kagarau kama watasema kitu.
I do not know. I do not know.
Lakini hakuna mtu alikuwa anataka kuniambia.
People are adjusting to new way of doing things.
Maneno ilikuwa gumu.
God is life.
Kuwa na hofu sana.
God created you so that you can depend on him.
They came to my home at Kahawa Wendani. They told me that they would want to ask me a few questions, and I accompanied them to Ruiru. I had nothing to fear of. I told them I would drive my car. They told me fine. I drove my car all the way from Kahawa Wendani to Ruiru police station. When I got there, I found several cars parked in the parking yard of the police station. Looking at those cars, I could see my colleagues inside the vehicles. I wondered what is happening. I was told to park my car there, and I was put in one of the cars. I asked them, what is happening? They told me, don't ask any question. We stayed in the car, and after about 2 hours, the vehicles were driven off. We didn't know where we were being taken. Me, I was taken to Makuyu police station, almost 110 kilometers from Nairobi. I stayed there for 2 weeks, for 1 week. Then I was brought to Gati police station in Thika, where I found my colleagues there being tortured seriously. Some of them could not walk. Some of them were on crutches. Some of them were swollen. I wondered what is happening. They started interrogating me or asking me questions about the death of...
But before the court will conclude the lengthy trial, the judge fell victim to the famous Jasi Ringera purge. The trial of the 12 civic leaders was declared a mistrial. Justice Kalpana Rawal took over the matter. In a bizarre twist of events, the judge singled out the evidence of the star witness Wanjuguna's daughter punching holes into it. The judge ruled that the witness, a young girl at the time, had failed to identify the name of the killers. After listening to the testimony of 50 witnesses and 5 years behind bars, the 12 civic leaders were set free.
Headed to the police station, and they told me to take off my personal effects. That's when I knew I was being arrested. So I turned to Dismas, who had accompanied us in the booking office, to attempt to give him a message to take back to my wife. But they shoved him violently out of the room. And that's the last time I saw of him.
19 years later, the man who has since joined the church ministry is asking the same question.
But I don't know why he got into the trouble he got. I do not know. I do not know.
With the rest of the civic leaders now free, the killing of Charles Maina Wanjuguna remained unresolved. So was the mysterious death of Dismas Maina Muthungu.
My dad alikuwa wale watu strong, nilikuwa najua hizi jiwa. No matter what, haiwezi jiwa. My dad ni ule mtu hangewahi give up na kitu. So nilikuwa zile tulishtuka, but tulijua kweli my dad hangejiwa.
The Director of Public Prosecutions ordered the court to set up an inquest into the mysterious suicide. The DPP was not convinced that Dismas had taken his own life with a pair of socks and a shoelace. Dismas was picked up by flying squad officers, among them including the Chief Inspector of Police at the time, Stanley Kamunde, Police Constable Washira, Corporal Joseph Koech, and Bithi from the cell for interrogation. The officers are said to have questioned Dismas for 2 hours before returning him to the cell.
Kwa hivyo sikujiuliza, nilikuwa hawezi, nilikuwa najua hawezi kujiua, nilikuwa na imani hiyo, hawezi.
A police officer manning the cell at the time says when he went to conduct a routine check of those held in the cell, he discovered Dismas had hanged himself. But the scene of crime photo shows that Dismas Muthungu's feet were firmly on the ground and there was no sign of struggle. The shoelace and socks he had allegedly used to kill himself were too weak to carry his weight. In a shocking revelation, Dismas Muthungu had penned a statement in the dark, one the police had failed to produce in court, neatly arranged it on the floor, took off his clothes before hanging himself.
He was expressing fears that the way the investigations were going, they were being orchestrated, they were being politicized, they were being pointed at me as a person, as the mayor, and he could tell me the outcome would not be good.
The public inquest before Nairobi Principal Magistrate Betty Rashid slammed the police for lying about the shoelace, which allegedly Muthungu used to kill himself with. The shoelace was later discovered to have been replaced with a string from the underwear of Dismas Mwangi and a single socks. The magistrate saying this was not enough to carry the dead weight of a 72-kilogram Dismas Maina Muthungu. A female police officer told the inquest that Dismas Maina Muthungu was picked up by flying squad officers from the cells for questioning and later had him returned. Dismas was carrying a piece of paper and a pen. Dismas allegedly told the police officer he had been instructed to write a statement while in the cell, an unheard of thing in police circles. When the lead police investigators, Stanley Kamunde, now dead, appeared before the inquest, the Chief Inspector of Police told the court he was under instructions from the then Director of CID Francis Sang to get Councillor Charles Maina Wanjuguna's killers. The police officer told the court the night Dismas died, the father of three had requested him for a pen and a piece of paper. Dismas, Kamunde told the court, wanted a quiet place to pen his statement. The police officer says he never stayed behind to witness Dismas pen his statement, and that by the time he left the police station, Dismas was still alive. But an autopsy conducted on the body of the deceased indicated that the 47-year-old driver had bruises on both his knees and an injury on his left ear. The pathologist, Dr. Wairimu Waweru, stunned the court when she revealed that Dismas was strangled and his killer had done it from behind his back. Dismas Muthungu's tongue was protruding from his clenched teeth. The pathologist told the court it was shocking that Dismas would have hanged himself with a small socks and a string so short and so weak. The pathologist told the court Dismas Muthungu's body was leaning on the wall where he was discovered dead instead of being suspended, a position a suicide victim assumes. After several months, the court ruled that it was Chief Inspector Stanley Kamunde and his junior officers who killed the 47-year-old driver, carried his body back into the cell and staged the suicide scene.
Tulikuwa tunaongea, lakini alikuwa na hofu sana kwa sababu fununu ile alikuwa nasikia haikuwa mzuri. Lakini akaniambia, unajua alitumia ukitaka kuua panya ingia kwa hii cooking pot ile unajua, ama ile kitu ya kuweka ile kitu ya kuweka maji ile inaweza. Sasa ule anatafuta panya, atavuja hiyo kitu ndio afikie. Hiyo ni maneno ndio alikuwa ananiambia. Sasa alikuwa na hofu sana kwa sababu aliniambia haiko mzuri.
Almost 2 decades later, it is not clear why Dismas Maina Muthungu was killed by police officers investigating the murder of Charles Maina Wanjuguna, whose death has also remained a mystery. Police investigators carried out a shoddy job of investigating a high-profile murder and in its wake left more deaths unresolved.
Mi naomba tu serikali tu justice ifanyike, because hiyo miaka ni mingi sana. Hatukuweza kusoma vizuri, tulikuwa 6, my mom hakuwa job, tulikuwa tunategemea my dad. So naomba tu justice, serikali ifanye justice.
Haki. Nimesumbuka sana.
But justice has been elusive for the aging widow who is currently battling to keep his only piece of land from the hands of a member of parliament who has laid claim on it. Stanley Njoroge, the first mayor for Ruiru municipality, told case files he has since moved to court to sue the state for malicious prosecution.
I didn't even enjoy it. I didn't even, because of course there were teething problems when it was the first time this council was having a mayor. Before it was a chairman. So there were all teething problems. People are adjusting to new way of doing things. I was new from the government, and I had not come to know how to be a good mayor was. Then I was taken away.
It might never be known who sent the killers to the home of Charles Maina Wanjuguna with guns and a 6-inch nail, but his killing has remained one of the mysterious elimination in the country's checkered political murders. A public inquest recommended that 5 police officers linked to the killing of Dismas Maina Muthungu be investigated, apart from Stanley Kamunde, who later died during the trial. The rest of the police officers later scaled the heights to become senior police officers.